All right, we're going to call to order the Ellettsville Town Council meeting for Monday, October the 28th, 2024. Begin with the prayer. Who would like to do that? Anyone? Okay, well, we'll try it anyways. All right, we'll do that. Heavenly Father, please be with us and protect us this evening as we go about our business and attempt to make decisions for the good of the entire town. Amen. Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Trevor Sager.
Here.
William Ellis.
Here.
Scott Oldham.
Here.
Pamela Samples. Dan Swafford.
Okay. Moving now to, we can do this up front, I guess. Public hearing for proposed increase in sewer rates and charges. Before we get to that, though, let's go ahead and do the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting on October 14th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve.
You're going to have to second. I wasn't present.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Aye.
Action to pay accounts payable, vouchers, and payroll.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining. Now moving back to the public hearing for the proposed increase in sewer rates and charges. Who wants to speak with this?
Doug, do you want to take that?
Sure, happy to. Doug Ellettsville, Baker Tilly, worked with Rich Ellettsville in these rates and charges for the town. And the ordinance that, the rate ordinance that's proposed to the council that's before them this evening proposes a phased-in increase of the revenue requirement increases that they've seen since the last time the rates were adopted back in 2010. So these rates will carry the sewer utility through 2026, which over that time frame is an average of increase of about 3% per year to keep up with increased operating expenses, payroll, benefits, maintenance, chemicals, and power, and also cover debt service and proposed operational facility, and then an increase in capital improvements to cover equipment, lift station repair, meter replacement program. So all in all, these proposed rates on an average user, which are currently $39.25, will go up to $49 in phase one after adoption of the ordinance if it's adopted, and also in phase two on January 1, 26 would go to $58.75 on an average residential user using 4,000 gallons. So in each phase, that's an increase of $9.75 per month. Currently, the average residential user rates are on the low end of sewer utilities, municipal sewer utilities that are like size and surrounding, and it'll bring these sewer rates back up to the more in line in average for the proposed rates. I'd be happy to answer any questions that there are in the council.
Questions from council? Seeing none. Mike, do you want to speak to this at all?
I think Doug covered it all. Anybody that has any questions about building a building, love to come see me, take them for a ride down to the old buildings we're working out of. We'd like to show them why we're building a new building.
Okay. Is there anyone else that you want to present from this before I open it up to public? Okay. Back one more time. Council for questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll now move to public comment. Reminder, public is limited to 3 minutes per individual to speak on this specific topic. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this, either raise your hand on the online using that function and/or come to the mic in council chambers. Seeing no one, we'll come back to the council. Questions, comments? Is there any reason that we can't move forward from this evening?
If you wanted to go ahead and move up the ordinances, you could, or you could just close the public hearing portion of it and just move on down the agenda.
I would prefer let's just move up the ordinances with the council's, if the council's okay with that, that way we're through with the entire issue.
I'm good with it.
Okay, so now we're going to move down to calling ordinance 2024-24, a rate ordinance for proposed increase in sewer rates and charges, and that's an ordinance on second reading. Discussion from council. Anything you want to say on this, Mike?
I'd just like to say, last rate increase we had was in 2009, and we actually had a rate decrease in 2018, and we probably waited a little long to bring this before you, so we appreciate your consideration, especially after the last 3 or 4 years of inflation that just killed our industry.
Okay. Opening this back up to the public one more time for comment. Anyone online or in council chambers? Seeing none, back to the council for action.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-24, rate ordinance for proposed increase in sewer rates and charges.
I'll second.
Motion second. Noel?
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
William Ellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Now, and forgive us for having to jump around on the agenda here, there are no resolutions this evening. There are 3 ordinances on first reading. The first ordinance is 2024-25 to amend salary ordinance 2023-18.
I can speak upon that for you. This is going to be to increase, or to add, I should say, the planning tech utilities billing clerk. I know that it's under new business, but if we ever do intend to hire this position in the future, we will have to amend the salary ordinance for that, to include that. And again, this is on the first reading. I didn't know if it would be the council's pleasure to wait until after it was decided to be hired to put it on for first reading, but I assume since it would have to go through another reading that that would be appropriate.
Questions, comments from council? I don't think we've decided one way or another, so while this may have been first reading this evening, I'm not sure when it'll come back for second reading, and I'm not sure if it's even appropriate under the modification to the 23 salary ordinance as opposed to the modification to the 25 salary ordinance. It's because it'd be for next year if we're not hiring this year.
Yes.
So,
We recommend that we hire him this year.
okay, so that was my question. Are we intending to hire him this year?
Yes, we do, so.
Okay.
I mean, would it be appropriate to go ahead and have the second reading as well?
Are we intending to do that before the next 2 weeks is out?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Again, I guess I apologize. I didn't know we were getting ready to hire someone before the next 2 weeks is over.
Oh, yeah, we would have hired him at the last meeting, but we just didn't think we had a full board, which we don't have tonight. And we are in dire need of the help, that's for sure.
Okay.
We've been, in both departments. The hire was our best effort at bringing some help into the building. We really actually need a full-time planning tech, but just to work with the budget we have for next year, we decided to make it a part-time position for both departments and actually make it a full-time position so we could give them benefits. But
Okay.
yeah, we need to go ahead and pass this if we can.
All right, no, I apologize. I thought we were still in limbo on this.
Yes, you can
Okay.
pass it on first reading if you council follows the procedure.
All right. Does council desire to move forward with this or let it die at first reading?
I move that ordinance number 2024-25 to amend salary ordinance 2023-18 be adopted on the same day which is introduced. Is that correct? Or do we have to?
Step 1.
Step 1, okay. be submitted for first reading.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Now we need a roll call vote.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, I move that ordinance number 2024-25 to amend salary ordinance 2023-18 be adopted on the same day to which it's introduced.
Second.
Roll call.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
motion passes.
I move that ordinance number 2024-25 to amend salary ordinance 2023-18 be adopted.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, now we're down to ordinance 2024-26, again on first reading, to amend ordinance 2001-25, receipt and claims policy clarification.
This is to clarify the ordinance that was passed in 2001, 2001-25, to give clear stipulations on when the credit cards are used through the town. There has been a couple of instances where missing receipts can't be found, and it happens sometimes when receipts are left, especially for gas in dashboards, and the sun comes down on it, and then the information is missing. We can't process the claim without that. So this is just to, per the State Board of Accounts, clear up the process to go through for a missing receipt. It was very vague in the previous ordinance. Again, it was from 2001.
Okay. It's ordinance on first reading. Is it available for the public anywhere to see?
Yes, but can I double check on that? And I will absolutely 100% make sure that it is on. I was having issues with the website and uploading the packet after I submitted it to the council. So I'm hoping that the email that I sent for tech help cleared that up for me.
All right, we'll make sure that that's out at least for 2 weeks before we vote on that. Next is ordinance 2024-27, fixing salaries for 2025.
And this again is on first reading. This is the range for the salaries, and I did want to bring it to the council's attention also that the previous salary ordinances, the top has been the exact amount that we paid for each employee. I've increased that to give some flexibility to the supervisors and the council when approving new hires for certification pay mid-year for police and fire, where that previously hadn't been available to the supervisors because of the way the salary ordinance was written, and also for various issues with rounding and different things throughout the year. So the exact amounts are the ranges, and so that's why I provided to you the employee's actual name, position, and their exact amount for 25 that they'll be paying to correspond with that.
Okay. Again, it's on first reading. Is there questions from council while we digest this? Okay. Anything else? Mike, anything from you? Okay. Move to ordinance on second reading. The first ordinance is ordinance 2024-21, amending ordinance 2024-18, effective date January 1st, 2025.
Yes, and this is just for almost a bookkeeping issue. When the council initially approved the adoption of the personnel policy, we did not specifically state in any of the documentation or in the minutes when it would take effect. This is just to make that clarification that the employee personnel policy will take effect January 1st of 2025.
Okay. Questions from council? Town manager? Any of the supervisors? Okay, back to council.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-21, amending ordinance 2024-18 to effective date January 1st, 2025.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
motion passes.
Next is ordinance 2024-22, amend the zone maps.
I'll start.
Okay?
This petition is a request by Digital Resources Acquisitions LLC to rezone 5 parcels totaling 343 acres, also known as the Umbarger parcels, from Agricultural 1 to Industrial 1. Subject parcels are located at West Flatwoods Road, North Starnes Road, and 6140 North Starnes Road. Petitioner will be constructing a technology park on all 5 parcels. It's anticipated there will be 5 to 6 buildings, 10 to 20 employees per building, and buildings will be designed in accordance with the requirements of the Unified Development Ordinance, Ellettsville Town Code, State of Indiana Building Code. And Darla can talk further about the ordinance, if you like.
This passed the Plan Commission with a positive recommendation, and so I think the town council can decide this tonight because the annexation ordinances are final, or the annexations are final, so I believe the town council can make this decision this evening.
Okay, quick question. Do you know what the vote was at the Plan Commission?
It was unanimous.
It was unanimous? Okay. All right, questions from council?
And Denise, I just kind of want to make clear that changing the zoning, depending on what could be built there, we still have some guidelines, correct, that have to be followed? What's the next stages?
Correct. They have a lot of work ahead of them. There will be environmental testing, engineering. They'll, excuse me, have to submit an application and plans for development plan approval. That'll go through tech review with all supervisors, engineering review. And then they will also have to contact the state of Indiana, submit an application for construction design release from the state as well.
Is that normal to have to contact the state?
Yes, any commercial construction, remodeling has to apply for construction design release. There are some exceptions when the square footage is small and what they're doing, but for this amount of work, they'll have to go through the state.
Okay.
Other questions from council? And just so I'm clear, these properties, according to the map you've given us, abuts the Cahey property and Harmon Farms proposed construction, correct?
It abuts the Harmon Farms, yes. It may be a property or two away from Cahey, and then the other 3 parcels off of Flatwoods are behind Richard Small Engines and Cahey.
Okay.
And Ava's
All right.
trash business.
Okay. No. We will not have outbursts from the crowd. You'll each have your opportunity to speak. If there's something that's said in error, you can correct it up here, but we're not going to have simple outbursts from the crowd.
Well, Umbarger, the first main parcel along Flatwoods, is across Starnes from the parcels I mentioned.
Okay. All right. All right. Any further questions from council and/or town manager?
Nothing at this time.
All right. We'll open it up for public comment. Again, it will be one at a time, 3-minute time limit. For those wishing to speak, either approach the mic as your turn and/or raise your hands on the Zoom as we go forward from there. All right, Mr. Reynolds, I see on Zoom wishes to speak, so if you'll open up his mic and allow him to speak, and you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Hey, good evening. Thank you. My voice is really loud. I'm sick. Hope you can bear with that. I'm concerned on the legal perspective on this because while the annexation may not be effective, it wasn't effective at the time that the Plan Commission considered this matter. And my understanding as an attorney looking at Indiana law and having some history and experience in real estate is that the Plan Commission can't take action on property that isn't within its jurisdiction any more than the town council can. But that the law does require that the town council act on a valid Plan Commission determination and recommendation. So I think it's important that I state that. I think there are also some serious substantive questions with this particular Plan Commission decision. In documents that I received in response to my public records request, it became clear that there was more that was known about this potential project not only before the Plan Commission meeting on the rezone, but before the Plan Commission meeting and the Town Council meetings on the annexations. And yet, that was not disclosed in those meetings. There were questions that were asked that it would appear relevant information was known to at least some members of the town government. And I find that to be legally problematic insofar as voting members of the Plan Commission and the Town Council depend upon full disclosure of what's going on with respect to these properties and what's known in order to make informed decisions. So I believe that if somebody were to make a decision, based on this this action where that information was not disclosed, it would be subject to challenge. But I think the bigger question, as I've said before, is why do we need to move so quickly? I don't think we do. You guys have the power. You don't have to rezone this tonight. You can rezone it at the proper time that question would come up. You can say no to developers. You can ask them to answer all the questions you want. You can require them to do so when you're operating in the best interest of the community. I mean, these are real life people who are being impacted by this. It's not just a game of Sin City where we put down light industrial in one place, commercial in another, residential. And I think we all want the best for our community, and we want the best for the people that live here. Not only the people in the town, but also the people in the county. And I just feel like, to the extent that anybody's made any public statements about this, online or otherwise, the answer has been, well, this is how development works. You can't ask questions. People don't always tell you everything you might want to know, but I can tell you that just doesn't have to be the way that it is. That's a position of weakness that you're adopting. And it doesn't mean we're sophisticated. If we do that, it just means we're opening ourselves up to being taken advantage of. So I would just ask that, I'm sorry, is that the time?
Yeah, it's your time, yes.
Okay. I would just ask that it be returned to the Planning Commission and that we continue to study this matter. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak to this either online or in chambers?
I think I'd like to say something.
We'll step up the mic, please. Give me just a second to reset the timer here. Sorry, we got a little bit of technical difficulty. If you'll sign in, please, and give us your name.
My name is Erin Baggett. I grew up in this area. So I could probably make a good, personal statement about why I feel this land would be, I think it would be unfortunate that this would be annexed. But, I want to bring up some other issues because, what I personally feel probably doesn't matter that much. In the last 30 years, there have been 2 tornadoes in that area. One that touched down, real, substantial part of that. So, obviously you're going to do that kind of environmental study and things like that, but I want that to be taken into consideration. The second, I feel like that area is a watershed for some of the land and for the Flatwoods Park. So has that been taken into consideration? Again, it sounds like there are going to be studies and everything like that, but the Flatwoods Park is a really substantial and beautiful place in that community, and I feel like, that should be taken into consideration. The third is, I haven't been paying real close attention. I just learned about this a week ago, newspaper. But the idea that this would be annexed in this way after, Bloomington had this huge annexation thing and got to experience all that, and then this is sort of just put on, that seems a little interesting to me. I think the other speaker may have addressed that in some ways, but that's really all I had. I do feel like it's an environmentally sensitive area, and that should definitely be taken into consideration in the annexation.
Thank you. One thing to clear up, and did at the RDC meeting, these annexations are not ones the town initiated. These are where the people come to us because they want to get away from county zoning and ordinances and say, hey, does this fit within your overall plan? So there's a big difference between what we're doing and what the city of Bloomington did. So I I don't think we've done any involuntary annexations, at least since I've been on the board since 2019, and nobody here has we don't want to do that. People are willingly coming in. This is something the property owner said, hey, please come in.
Anyone else wishing to speak, either in the chambers and or online? And Darla, while she's making her way to the mic, just for clarity for everyone, the annexation is complete, is it not?
It's complete.
This is simply dealing with the rezone.
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Town Council. My name is Krista Curtis, and I am the president of the Chamber, the Ellettsville Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. The idea of industrial growth on Ellettsville's west side is not a new concept. At a Monroe County level, discussions about the west side of the county and how it would grow can be traced back to the 1980s. More formal land use planning documented these ideas in the town's comprehensive plans in 2002, 2007, 2018, and most recently in 2023. Tonight, I want to speak specifically to the Envision Ellettsville plan, the 2023 plan, and the process to develop that plan. I'm most familiar with that plan because I played an active role in the steering team and the advisory council. Envision Ellettsville was a community-wide visioning process. The Chamber, Main Street, and the town of Ellettsville embarked on the visioning process to seek community input and develop a vision for the future to help guide the growth that was beginning to happen, was already happening in Ellettsville. A steering committee of 20 individuals guided the development of the plan with technical assistance from Taylor Seeker Williams Design Group. The community engaged in the development of this vision through focus groups, an online survey, community workshops, and online tools. The resulting vision plan was then adopted in 2023 by this council as the town's new comprehensive plan. That current comprehensive plan includes a land use plan that once again, identified the west side of Ellettsville to be the area where light industrial development and a tech park should be located, not in other areas of our community, supporting the strategy that has been discussed across the county for many years. Tonight, I want to share with you the Chamber supports the rezoning of newly annexed property to light industrial because this aligns with the vision that was laid forth in Envision Ellettsville and in the comprehensive plan. The Chamber is not here tonight to advocate for specific projects that may locate within this tech park area. Tools like the comprehensive plan, the land use plan, and the unified development ordinances have been established to protect the interests of our community, many of whom are here tonight, and guide the decisions on individual projects. We also recognize that each development project will have milestones to meet before moving forward, including steps like utility studies, environmental studies, and geotechnical studies. We believe these controls are very important to ensure that the output of each project meets the community's expectations and achieves the strategic vision. The Chamber is aware that additional growth is expected on the west side of the community, with possible additional voluntary annexation and rezone requests. We will continue to support strategies and policies that support the plan for growth, and we will continue to participate in the planning process to make sure the right type of growth happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, is there anyone else who wishes to speak to this matter? Got one more in chambers.
Good evening. My name is Clark Reiner. I'm the Business Development Director for the Bloomington Economic Development Corporation, also known as the BEDC. We are a nonprofit that serves all of Monroe County, including Ellettsville, in attracting and growing quality employment and investments to the community. We have three main points we'd like to highlight First, we support the town of Ellettsville's long-term effort to attract and develop investments and employment on the west side of the community. This goal has been discussed for many years with the community participation through the Envision Ellettsville process, comprehensive planning, voluntary annexation proceedings, and other efforts. The second, the West Side District is a key piece of the town's economic strategy. Ellettsville smartly takes a diverse approach to its economy with the zones for residential, commercial, light industrial development. Light industrial zoned land is critical for attracting and growing clusters of traded sector companies which sell goods and services outside of the region and bring income into the community. Communities can see numerous benefits when companies invest in new facilities in zones like these. New facilities can help keep property taxes lower for everyone by raising the overall net assessed value, which lowers tax rates. New investments are often tied to job creation and increased wages, which feed into local income tax revenue and support local consumer spending. These investments also help communities to keep pace with technological advancements as well as infrastructure. And three, finally, the BEDC works as a partner and a resource for the town of Ellettsville on economic development projects that come into the community. We share the sentiment that it's important to vet opportunities to ensure not just anything comes in. We work closely with our local governments to ensure project questions and concerns are addressed to explore and fit the community better. And public conversations like these are important as an important part of the process. We'll have a better planned community as a result. We look forward to continuing our collaboration with Ellettsville and local partners in the envisioning and bringing a bright future to Ellettsville. Thank you.
Again, one more call. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to this matter? No one in chambers, and I see no one online. Am I correct in that? Okay. Move back to council for comments, questions, actions, however you want to move forward.
My question is for Ms. Darla down there. One thing we heard about tonight was just the legality, Darla, of the vote going down tonight. Can you speak on that, please, of why this vote is eligible tonight and it doesn't need to be kicked back to Planning Commission?
I've looked into this, and I think the town council can decide this tonight. Plan Commission recommendations regarding rezones are just that, they're recommendations. They're not subject to review by a court, and a Plan Commission's opinion on a rezone is advisory in nature. Rezoning is, as you're aware, it's a legislative process, and that comes within the purview of the town council. And so my answer might be different if, for example, this were a final decision that the Plan Commission had authority to make, like if it was a development plan, or if it was a plat, it was a petition for a plat approval, a plat amendment, something like that, and it was a final decision by the Plan Commission. So because this isn't a final decision, I think the fact that the annexations were not complete at the time that the Plan Commission heard it does not affect the council's ability to make the decision tonight because they're complete now. So.
And again, once again, the Plan Commission was simply a recommendation.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And I would be leery of sending it back to the Plan Commission because, as you know, you've got 90 days to decide this. And if you send it back, you may find yourself in a situation where you're losing time and it's going to be considered passed anyway if you don't decide it within 90 days after the Plan Commission made its certification, which was on October 3rd.
Okay. Questions, comments? Go ahead.
I just want to, I have heard so many comments from the public, emails. If I didn't respond to anybody, my apologies. But where I stand on this is that since I've been on the council, I constantly hear we need to do things to lower our taxes. We need to do things that differentiate us from Monroe County and Bloomington in the way they do business and are, in a lot of the people's opinions, not pro-business enough. And I think overall, That's what this does. This gives us the tools that I think Mike had said earlier, they've been talking about this for what, 40 years, Mike? So this isn't new, but what is new is that we actually have a chance long-term to give the residents of Ellettsville what they want and show that we are different. And to the question that, we're rushing things, when I hear businesses take a year or two to get approval and have to go through the morass with the county and the city of Bloomington, they can do that, that's fine, but that's not what we do. We want business to know that we're open for them, but we also want our residents to know we have tools that some of the externalities they're concerned about in the process of building. As Denise explained pretty concisely earlier, there's a lot of metrics that have to be met that our UDO, which was recently passed in the last couple months, gives us some teeth to be able to do that with. So with that, I would be voting yes on this.
I just want to address one quick thing, and usually, and I know last week this was continued to this evening so the rest of us could join. This is something that's going to go forward tonight, where how we vote one way or another. I feel comfortable doing that because both of the other members of the council who unfortunately are absent this evening are both members of Plan Commission, which is why I asked how the Plan Commission actually voted, if it was unanimous. So both of those members have had an opportunity to voice concerns as well and at least vote once on this per the recommendation. So I don't feel the need at this point in time to delay this any further, and we'll see where we wind up, but just to kind of address that up front. Again, this is for the rezone only. This is not permission necessarily to build anything, pending a whole lot of other steps. So that's what we're dealing with tonight. I can appreciate the passions involved here, and I do too have some questions on the environmental concerns, a couple of those, and I will voice those with the planning department individually. But for tonight, we'll move forward and see if this council chooses to pass the recommendation to move forward on the rezone. So with that said, is there motions on this?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-22, amend the zone maps.
Second.
Motion second, when you're ready.
Scott Oldham.
Yes.
Trevor Sager.
Yes.
William Ellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
The next is ordinance 2024-23, a bond ordinance approving the issuance of bonds for the town's municipal sewage works.
I guess I can talk about that, or, I think Doug's gone. Yeah, that, we just need to approve this ordinance so we can move forward in taking care of business as far as monetary concerns.
Okay. Did Doug have further? I'm sorry, I didn't.
I think he's gone.
Okay, he addressed this earlier, so. Questions from
I'd be
council?
glad to answer questions.
Questions from council? Okay. Open this up to questions from the public. Online or in chambers? Seeing none, we're back to the council for action.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-23, bond ordinance approving the issuance of bonds for town's municipal sewage works.
I'll second.
Motion second?
Scott Oldham.
Yes.
Trevor Sager.
Yes.
William Ellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. You'll notice on the agenda next was the ordinance we have already handled. Now we're going to move down to old business. The first is which is the redevelopment commission.
We had our first meeting this evening. There was a election of officers, so Dr. Cash is going to be president, and Tom Portman is vice president. Mr. Sager is going to be the secretary. And I think what the decision of the redevelopment commission was they were going to meet twice a month and generally follow the planning commission or the town council schedule to meet second, fourth Mondays of every month. First meeting of every month is going to be a work session. Second meeting is going to be a meeting where decisions are made. There was a discussion about maybe having Baker Tilly come to the next meeting to kind of explain things to the public and the planning commission about TIF districts. There were some questions from the audience about how that works. And so Mr. Farmer and I thought that that might be a good thing for Baker Tilly to come to the next meeting, but we're going to start, Mike started talking about TIF districts, the proposed TIF districts, so the redevelopment commission will start work on putting together the necessary documents, hopefully by the end of the year, to get the TIF districts established. So.
Correction, I believe we would like to have that meeting with Baker Tilly present on the 25th. Now, I think
Okay,
that's more appropriate.
Okay. Anything else on this?
Pardon?
Anything else you want to speak about this?
No, well, yes. So, you know, I don't want anybody to think we're in a hurry, but I think we need to be somewhat quick about putting the redevelopment commission together and putting them on a path towards developing TIF districts, and also what plans would go into the TIF district, what needs to be done that is not currently available. There's all kinds of lists or all kinds of things to put on a list like this, and just for example, whether it be three-way traffic lights on a highway, improvements to a road, storm water, fire stations, things like that. So I think when we start talking about these lists as a would apply to the west side, I think public input would be nice, and I think everybody needs to pay attention to our agendas for the next, maybe forever, but at least the next couple of years, and participate. We're also talking about a TIF district in the downtown area to help for the redevelopment of the town, the older part of town. And so I think it'd really be interesting what the public might like to see as far as upgrades and updates and things like sidewalks and, you know, lighting and this and that and the other. So public input would really be nice. It should be a community endeavor to utilize the TIFs and make the town better.
So as I understand it, we haven't really come to any exact conclusions on what the TIF districts will be.
We have, the planning department and myself have an outline of where we think the TIF districts makes most sense.
Okay.
And so we will share with the board and the RDC and the public where we think those TIF districts should be, and we have a list, and we'll add to the list as the public input comes in, and so yeah, we have information that would be useful.
Okay. When do you think you're going to be bringing that before council?
Well, we need to get the declaratory resolution passed before the end of the year. My
Yeah.
understanding is, according to Baker Tilly. So,
Okay.
So that,
but yes, there's public notice requirements. It starts with the RDC, then the proposal goes to the Plan Commission, back to the council, back to the RDC for public hearing, and then I think back to council again, so.
So before the first of the year, we'll have some movement?
Well, we need to
Ideally.
get started before the end of the year, according to Baker Tilly, so.
Okay. All right. Other questions from council? All right. Now we move to bonds and per diems for board members.
That was discussed briefly, and I may have brought this up at the last town council meeting, but by statute, the RDC members are required to post a bond, and the statute says that the town pays for that. So, and the members did discuss the per diems. So they decided on $50 per meeting, and I think Noel had, in the salary ordinance, she had a to be determined for the redevelopment commission, so.
Okay.
But they decided $50 per meeting, which is the same as council and plan commission make, so.
All right, so we'll have to,
And that does not include Trevor and I or any council
Correct.
members on the RDC.
okay. Questions, comments?
Glad to
Alright.
get started.
All right, now we'll move down to new business. The first is digital resources rezone. Is that a
That
typo?
was an error. I misunderstood with all the emails that were coming in, so I should not have put that
Okay,
on new business.
All right. Next is Spring Point revised contract for, it says 1-phase to 3-phase project for DPW.
Okay, so I asked Darla to look at an agreement with Spring Point about our contract to add to the contract, is that right? What it's saying?
Well, it's a release and
A revision to the contract. We originally assumed we were going to be using single-phase power for the project. As it turns out, we need to use 3-phase power. The source for 3-phase is not on site, so we've asked Duke to put a 3-phase power transformer in place. Duke, after giving us some credits, needs to bill us $30,000 for the work. It's what it takes for them to get the transformer where we need it. So we talked to Spring Point about this, and after some discussions, they've agreed to pay for half of the amount, and so that's why we're revising the contract so we can allow for that.
Okay. All right, so is there anything you need from us this evening
yes, to approve that.
to approve the amendments? Okay.
And Darla's reviewed the contract.
Okay, so you're satisfied with everything that's
Yes.
before us? All right. Questions from council? Motions from council as to this amendment?
I'll make a motion to approve the revised contract with Spring Point for Phase 1 to Phase 3 on the project with DPW.
I'll second.
Motion to second?
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
William Ellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next is a new hire for Planning and Utilities Department position. This is Planning Utilities,
Can we do it?
Planning Tech Utilities Billing Clerks.
Okay, I'll take this too. So as talked about earlier, we need help in both planning and utilities. We had a couple weeks, at least 1 week or 2 weeks, where we only had one person in utilities. So we need a part-time person. The planning department needs a full-time person, but to get us through next year's budget, we've decided to share an employee. We'd like to ask the board to hire Renee Jones, and we'll be paying her $25.81, and the money's in the budget.
Questions from council? Actions from council, because then I have a comment after we're done with this.
I'll make a motion to approve the hire of Renee Jones as the new hire for the Planning and Utilities Department position.
Second.
Motion to second?
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
William Ellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Darla, can I have a quick question? And I know this is kind of part of it, but it's something that kind of bothers me a little bit. We approved this position. Is there anything under law that says we have to be the actual one to do the hiring, or can we kind of allow the town manager to hire as he sees fit on an approved position? Other than police and fire, which I understand we have a different responsibility.
Well, I think you can do what you want. You amended your ordinances, I don't know, a year or 2 years ago to allow Mike Farmer or the supervisors to hire part-time people
Right.
without council approval. I mean, your policy has always been that the council wanted final say, but if you wanted to amend your policy, that's certainly within your purview to do that.
Okay. So we'll speak to the rest of the council, but I just wonder if there's a reason that we can't do that, but clearly there isn't. Do you have a comment about that, Mike? It would seem to be much simpler than waiting for council every 2 weeks to,
It would streamline the process. I mean,
for police and fire, we have a statutorily responsibility, but for the rest of the town, I don't know why someone would have to wait 2 weeks for us to meet to approve a name given to us where we've never met the person or talked to them.
right. I agree with that.
So,
As long as the position's in the salary.
as long as it's in the salary ordinance, you have done the vetting, you and the supervisors. I don't want to use the word rubber stamp, but that's essentially what we're doing. And that just doesn't seem very efficient.
Thank you.
Next is Centennial Park LLC, termination of bonds and letters of credit.
Centennial Park subdivision is built out. They've requested to be removed from their remaining bonds. Planning, street, and our MS4 inspector were all out there, and we all had some improvements to be made. Everything's been completed to everyone's satisfaction, so there's 4 bonds totaling $195,920. These are cash bonds held by the town.
Denise, was this the one where I had a resident reach out about the tree?
Yes.
And those have been replaced?
Yes.
Okay.
Darla, is there anything we need to know about this, other than what's on the surface?
Nope.
All right, questions from council or comments? Since this one affects members of the public, anyone in the public want to speak to this release of the bond? Just in case there's something we're not aware of. Okay, back to council.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the termination of bonds and letters of credit for Centennial Park LLC.
Second.
Motion second.
Scott Oldham.
Yes.
William Ellis.
Yes.
Trevor Sager.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next is the sidewalk in Overbrook Estates.
I don't have anything about that tonight. Thank you. It was a carryover from the last agenda.
Okay. All right. Since it appears on the agenda, do we need to do anything with it, Darla? Okay. All right, now we'll move to privilege of the floor. Anyone having business for the council that was not part of our regular agenda?
I'm Chris Fisher, and I'm here just as a citizen and not as a member of any committee. But I just have a couple of questions. You were talking about the TIF district and what it entails. Do you have to live in the town to voice your opinion you were talking about stoplights and things of that. I wondered if these people that were just here would be able to voice their opinions as far as stoplights or whatever else goes in the TIF district, so that they felt a part of the process.
Chris, although this is not question and answer time, I will answer this question. We don't restrict it to members of the town.
Okay.
So anyone can voice their opinion, certainly.
Well, that was my question, was so that they feel that they would be able to have a voice in what's going on in their area, in that TIF district. So, and the other thing is just a comment. I'm disappointed to see that 2 of our members are not here again. There were a lot of important decisions and discussions tonight. I hope that they're not ill, but I think that it's important that you have a full board when you have such decisions to make.
Anyone else having business for the council not part of our regular agenda? Go ahead and step up, sir.
Hi, my name's Gary Lawson. I live out on North Maple Grove Road. Received my water from Ellettsville Utilities. On October the 2nd, someone from Ellettsville,
If you want to back up just a little bit. There you go.
Thanks.
It's a little touchy.
Okay, my fault. My meter reader came out and let me know that I'd had a tremendously large usage during the month of September. I also got a call from the office. Tremendously large, 500,000 gallons. I'm facing a bill of about $3,000. I haven't received it yet. I understand it'll be processed real soon and be due early November. I'm here to respectfully request that you consider adopting a leak adjustment policy to help me and others with large bills like this. I have three reasons. First of all, I think it's a good and kind policy And I know that you are good and kind people. I know that because I taught up at Edgewood High School for 33 years, and your kids were good and kind people. Secondly, other utilities do it. Bloomington, Bedford, and Brown County all have policies that reduce at least the bill. They don't take care of all of it. Huntingburg pops up on a Google search as being a town that does take care of all the bill and only asks the customer to pay their average bill for the last year. Finally, I think it's possible, with my thinking anyway, to enact a policy that helps at no cost to Ellettsville Utilities. If we take the fact that Ellettsville Utilities pays $3.03 per 1,000 gallons for the water they get from Bloomington, take my most recent bill before the bad one. For instance, we used 9,300 gallons. The bill was $76. According to the 303, 28 of that would have gone to Bloomington, 48 goes to running the utility here in Ellettsville. If you apply that to my 500,000 gallon bill, it is my personal opinion that your costs in that month are still my $50. I don't think that you have substantially additional costs due to the leak. I do understand that I would be responsible for 500,000 gallons at $3 per gallon, the price you're paying. So I think you could reduce my $3,000 bill down to basically $1,500 plus my normal amount that I contribute to the well-being of Ellettsville Utilities. Help me out and really not hurt yourselves. That's all.
Can I ask real quick, where did it all go? 500,000 gallons, that's a lot of water.
That fills a pit, that would fill a pit 40 feet wide, 40 feet long, and 40 feet deep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay.
There are springs in the area. My wife, though, drove our truck within 15 feet of where we found the leak. It was right next to the meter pit, and left no tracks in the yard. So I don't know. I can only think it was carried away by underground streams. I would note that I still have a leak. I fixed the big one, found out when I got done that wasn't it. That one is being fixed sometime in the next week with all new lines going in.
Okay. All right. Thanks, sir.
Is there anything that, in situations like this, do we have to make a policy for that, or does utilities have some leeway?
We should have a policy. I'm not allowed to arbitrarily waive bills. We do give credits when people have water, sewer, and we get information that indicates the water didn't go down the sewer. We'll do credits for the sewer, but a policy like this, which, as the man said, is not uncommon, we would have to come up with a policy. We would want to make sure the policy allowed for some discretion, but we also want to make sure we don't, we also need to make sure that it's not a reoccurring thing, right. A reoccurring credit just to keep people from not having upkeep to their plumbing.
Is that something you can formulate and bring to us, or how would you like
Yeah,
to?
we could.
Because I definitely would entertain something like that. Thank you for letting us know about
and
that.
if it'd be all right with you, we'll just maybe ask the gentleman to pay his regular bill until we figure out what we're doing, and
So say, let's do some
make
forbearance
him-
until we figure out
yeah.
what we're doing.
We might name it after him, but I don't know.
I'm good with that. Do we need a formal vote for that? Okay, I'm good with that.
All right.
I'll take care of
All
it.
right, thank you. Anyone else having business for the council not part of the normal agenda? Seeing none, we'll move now to, it says supervisor's comments, starting with town manager. I apologize.
Well, I'd just say that if anybody has questions about what's going on in town, maybe starting with the town manager is always a good idea. If it's questions that are technical, you ought to ask Denise when it comes to development, and then all the other departments take care of safety and roads and this and that and the other. But if people want to know what's going on, they should pay attention to our agendas, maybe come to the meetings. It's obvious that our town is growing, and it's growing fast, and I'm really interested in what developments do for our town. But at the end of the day, I think my job is to make sure I know what they're going to do to the town. So I think that's where a lot of my energy will go in the future. It's a yin-yang thing when you grow, and whether you're a person or an entity, you have growing pains. So my door's open. I'll come out to anybody that has questions about a particular development or why we're doing this, or even now the TIF districts we're talking about. It's a lot to be able to process. I think in one of our department head meetings recently, one of our department heads, when we were talking about all the growth, we were talking about the fact that we've just never been here before. I mean, I was only half kidding when I said, when they asked me to be the town manager in 2019, I'm like, what could happen? And then we had COVID and 3 building booms, and this is the real one this time in a row. So a lot can happen, and you can get behind. So it's important that you have somebody you can talk to. I think my job is to come out and talk to people like Norm, who I heard him. So, anyway, that's what I'm here for, and doors open.
Thank you. Chief Deputy?
Have you got anything, Chief Deputy? Let me say real quick, I wanted to thank the fire department for the gentleman that we had Sunday afternoon and evening that went missing. We were able to stand up a command and get resources online and get additional personnel to search for him. It turned out that he went missing around 2:30 in the afternoon, but they didn't contact us until about 5:30 in the evening. But fortunately, he was found at the north side of Kroger, off of Kinder Pike, by an Ellettsville all-street firefighter. So once again, thanks to the fire department for helping us out. We got some social media involved. I think most people were able to see the what is it, they call it X now?
Yeah,
Twitter, or however that's broadcast. And so we just wanted to say thanks to the fire department, and of course Foreman as well. He was over there too. So thank you very much for your help, assistance, and for the public's help as well.
Thank you. Thank you, the fire department, the police department get along so well. We work here so well. I want to bring to your attention tonight, we have an opening for the Parks Board, and I have talked with Jerry Sanders, and he is willing to take that opening on the Parks Board if the board would approve that. I appreciate that tonight.
That one is a presidential appointment,
Yes.
and discuss it with the other members of the president. They have no objections, so Mr. Sanders will go to the Parks Board.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, you. Your turn.
Update on Chief Patton. He's home now resting from hernia repairs. He had a little setback, but is on the mend. He's planning on returning to the office next Monday. Last thing on my list is the Ellettsville Volunteer Fire Department applied for a grant from Smithville Foundation, and we did receive that. Be using that to purchase a new off-road vehicle for firefighting and rescue, something like a Polaris Ranger, something similar to that. So thank you to Smithville Foundation.
Thank you.
Well, at first I really didn't have nothing to speak about tonight, but I wanted to go ahead and bring up, it's that time of year again. So I've been getting phone calls for leaves to be picked up. We started picking up on Mondays because the last few weekends has been pretty nice. We figured the multitude of leaves would be on Monday. So probably within the next week or so, we'll be out pretty much every day picking up leaves. The brush pickup, we're going to do one more that's according to the ordinance, and that'd be November 4th. That week, we picking up brush as well. And finally, our contractor that got our awarding from the Community Crossings Grant showed up today. So they'll be milling the streets today. So our 9 streets will be milled and getting overlaid here within the next week or so.
Okay, thank you. Denise?
I want to thank Smithville. My grant's not as big as the volunteer fire department, but Smithville, we got a grant to place bicycle racks on most of the town properties throughout town, and we want to thank them. They're a big supporter of the town. I also wanted to let you know that you've seen a lot of work going on. The trail, Mike's estimate's probably 60% complete. DPW has been working very hard on that. And they've been going through some tough areas back through the woods. And Richland Senior Housing, we want to thank them for giving us an easement. Also want to bring you up to date on Ellettsville Heritage Center. You've probably seen it under construction at Stewart Park. And they're ready to paint the walls and put the floor down. So it's moving right along.
Okay, thank you. Noel?
I just wanted to let the council know that this was the first year we were able to successfully do online enrollment for our benefits for all of our employees. It was a little bit of a adventure getting that up and running, but now all the employees that are current employees and any new employees that we onboard will have access to all of their benefits online and no longer have to call the clerk's office or ask us to email them things. And so I just want to let them know about that. And then also at the next council meeting, with the approval of this new employee, I will have a resolution for the council to go before them to expand PERF, as we did before, to add this position, as we did prior with the high-tech crime unit director.
Talking about the one we just approved this evening?
Correct.
Okay.
Because that's not a named position that we currently have in PERF, and so the council will just have to do an easy resolution to expand it to include that position to provide those benefits for the new employee.
Okay. Anything else? Now we move to council comments. Council?
Just want to tell everybody, I appreciate everybody, the community being active and engaged, and keep that passion going throughout this process, not just for this, but everything. And we will keep working on being able to get the word out about these things. I think we do better than a lot of other towns, and our size especially. And I think that as we grow, our communications will grow too, and be able to alert people to more things.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing no other business for the council, we stand adjourned.